I'm Dan Galusha and welcome to another edition of Dan's Fishing Tales. Today we're going to do a basics in fishing. Yeah, that's basics. So all you guys that are hardcore worm fishermen, just forget it. Because we're going to be talking about Texas rigging a plastic worm. And this one happens to be a natural forage bait RT7. It's a ribbon tail, it's a 7-inch worm. It has kicking bass in it, and it does kick bass. I catch a lot of them on it. So I'm going to show you how to Texas rig this. And by the way, this is an XPoint hook. This is a regular worm hook. It's an XPoint. I know you can't see the point exactly the way it is, but if you look directly at that point, it actually forms an X. It has cutting edges, so you can't sharpen it again. But it's sharp enough as it is. It'll stick right into just about anything. It's a, I don't know how well you can see that at home there, but it's a one heck of a point, I'll tell you that. Now I'm going to show you how to rig this. What you do is you come in just like this, go right past the barb, just past the barb, that's it. This is where you break it out, just it's right there, see, that's how you got it. You break it out the side, you bring it down, take it around the sprout part, the area that holds the head, and you'll notice now that barb where I broke it out is just the same length as that. Now what you do is you push this forward so that when you put the worm or the hook into the worm, it's straight, just like that. Now another way you can do is to push it forward and bring it on the outside and do what they call skin hook, where you just put it into the edge of the worm. And for this I like it like this, just so that when I set the hook, because they will not feel it this way. They won't the skin way either, especially when I'm doing tubes. If I'm Texas rigging a tube, I will bring it out and then skin hook it. But with this, just do it like that, just to the very edge of that soft plastic. Now, we're going to try to do some fishing, and I'm going to show you some of the techniques that we'll use. Mainly, the easiest technique, especially with this ribbon tail, is just to pick it up and drop it a little bit. Just pick up, drop. That's all you got to do. And just kind of maybe even give it a little bit of jerk and stop. So we'll see what works best. We're going to talk a little bit about as far as the basics, since this is about basics. There's different types of worms, of course. We're using a ribbon tail right now because I had pretty good luck with that in this sort of a situation where the water's getting warmer, there's a little bit more activity down there, it's a little murkier, and so you get a little bit more action and vibration out of this tail. But there are the times when the straight tail will work too, and that's a finesse worm. And there's a lot of different sizes of those, and normally when I use a finesse worm, I will Texas rig it, but I'll use it on a jig head instead. Then I'll go with an ultralight, and I'm talking about like a natural forage bait R4 worm, which is a 4-inch worm. It works really good, and I might go to that today, but right now we're going to stick with this because we're talking about Texas rigging and the basics of that. And since we're talking about basics, what about the hits? What are they like? They can be just a little bit of a tap, but don't set the hook right away. Feel it. If you feel that fish. Another thing, and this is the way to get the idea of it, is if you're picking up your line and you feel what I call a weight, a soft weight I call it, take a limb and put your rod tip up against the limb and pull it up like that. A limb will give and come upward. Okay, if you can get that feeling as to what that feels like with that limb given, and yet you still got that weight, a lot of times that's a fish on, and that's a fish that already has it and is ready to have the hook set. And that especially happens when you're flipping and a pitching. And again, we're not talking about that, but we're talking about the basics of a Texas rig like this. But that's a couple of the type of hits that you'll have. And like I said, some of them are just very slight tap, tap, almost like a bluegill, and at times they are bluegills. But normally with a bass, when it does that, it'll tap, tap, and then it'll kind of hold it, or it will carry it one way or the other. And I've even had them tap, and then zow, they'll go with it, just like you would with an old fishing the old bobber type thing. So that's a couple of the basics on strikes. One of the things I haven't touched on is the sinkers. No big deal there, but you like to have a slip sinker. Now you can peg them, you can do that, but again, we're talking about the basics. So we're going to use it as a slip sinker. You want it like this, so it goes back and forth. Okay, I like the bullet sinker like this, and there's a lot of different ones out there. There is the regular bullet, and then there's, well, this one I think is an old Frable, and Frable don't have them anymore. This is back in the days of when they had the terminal tackle. You don't have to use a weight if you don't want to. That makes it real good for if you want to just drag the worm like across the top of the moss. That's what's nice about a Texas rigged worm like this. You can do a lot of different things with it, and with a ribbon tail, if you want, you can bring it along like a spinnerbait. You can slow roll it, and they'll hit it that way too. My dad did that a lot. So as far as weight goes, now this is the thing on weight though. How much weight do you use? Use the minimum. Use whatever it takes to get it the way you want it, where you want it to fish, where you want it to go, over the top of your structure, around your weeds, whatever. But use the minimum amount. I've always found that 3/16 is a good one. I know a lot of people want it a lot heavier, and true. Now if I'm casting way out there to, say, the deeper weed islands that have formed in the past out there, then I'm going to maybe go with a 1/2 ounce just to get it out there. I don't necessarily want it that way out there, but you know, it's one of those things. Then you might go to a Carolina rig, but again, that's an entirely different thing. We're talking about just plain old, simple, basics Texas rig. And I'll use probably on the average 1/8, 3/16, and 1/4 ounce size bullet weights. And now you can see right here, I was talking earlier about the point coming out. We're going to talk about it right now, because I have set the hook on it. See it catch? Okay, that's coming out. You don't want that. Once that happens, now you could skin hook it. In fact, I'm going to show you now how to skin hook it, because it is out. Here it is right here. Okay, push the worm forward and then skin hook it. Now look at there. Now the point, I don't know if you can see it, but you can see the point right in there. This is a skin hook. We were talking about weights, and I want to bring this up. I told you to use the lightest possible, but I didn't tell you why to use the lightest possible. For one thing is it won't go down too deep into whatever you're fishing, but it'll also give you a lot better strike detection. That's why if you could fish it without a weight at all, you definitely have good strike detection. And a lot of times what that is actually line movement. They'll pick it up and they'll just start carrying it. It's quite like fishing a jerk worm or a jerk shad, whatever you want to call it. That's how they hit a lot on those. And again, you're Texas rigging those actually, so if you learn how to Texas rig a worm, you're going to be able to do that. What I've decided to do is to get something that I can go a little bit longer distance with. This 6-foot rod works great at a what I call medium type distance, but I've got some spots that I want to reach that are a little bit further off, plus I want to go past some spots so that I can work it through it. Now the idea is that I'm going to get more distance. I'm going to do that. I already kind of talked about that. Not just more weight, I am going to add a 1/4 ounce. And pull out my handy dandy restrictor here. Man, I tell you, this is a great box. It's terminal tackle restrictor, keeps the tackle from rusting. It's just super. Check them out. And there's also a new one out called the Edge. Oh, you got to look at that. Definitely, you got to look at that. Haven't got any to show you right now, but will in the future. But this is the restrictor. This thing, what I like about it, it really keeps everything in there the way you want it. Has all sorts of compartments. We're not really going into this a lot because I've showed you before what it's like. See all the different compartments. Got my weights, got my hooks, all different sizes. In fact, we're going to go with another XPoint hook, and probably going to go with the little 2/0 right here. Lay that right there. And weight wise, well, tell you what, we're going to step it up to a 1/4 ounce. Like I said, we're going to step the thing up, find the one I want. I can get it out there. Yep, that's got a smash point. Gotta open that one. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna go with a 1/4 ounce. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go with a longer rod. In fact, 8.5 foot, that's right. I'm gonna use a steel head rod. I know, you think steelhead? Yep, that's right. I use that a lot for bass fishing, especially when I want to get my long distance. It's 8.5 foot. Like I said, here it is right here. Long sucker, as you can see. And we're going to tie that on. I'm going to put the weight on first, then tie the hook, and then we're going to rig another one of those worms, which I will show you here in just a little bit. I get the weight on here first, find the end of my line. Weight. I'll get the hook, and I'm going to tie a double knot on it like this. Actually, a good old trilene knot. You all heard of that. Just double loop like that. You go through it twice. You take it around here about 4 times, and then you take it through both loops. And you wet your line just like that, and then you trim off the tab where I got my trimmer. Just use my knife right here, that'll work. Now we'll get the worm. I'm doing this so you can see it again. And I keep my worms in worm wraps, by the way. These are really, really nice. And then you got them all filed in here. See, I got all my natural forage bait stuff right in here. And we're gonna go maybe with the same color, that black and blue. That's my favorite. Got my worm. And hook right here. Again, take it through. Pass the barb, break it out the side, bring it all the way down, put it around like that, push it forward, and we got it. Now, it's on a long rod, we're going to do some longer casting. Pepper's around here somewhere, probably getting himself in trouble. I know he is. He may have been behind me at times, I don't know, maybe you've seen him. So now, get my glasses. And we're going to see what we can do. Something I want to bring up about this longer rod is, not only does it help in casting distance, which actually goes 2 different ways. As far as distance goes, yeah, I'm out further that way, I'm finding some spots that I want to find. If I'm in a boat, I'm going past the spots so that I can bring them over there. That's fine. But say if you're fishing from shore or even from a boat and you want to parallel a shore, you can cast a lot further down that shore to parallel it. Another thing the longer rod does is it gives you a lot of fighting ability. Okay, we've moved to an entirely different area. There's a lot more moss down here. There's some aeration besides. And I got a mess on my worm. And I don't even have to get a new worm. Weeds will do this, they'll chew them up. Oh man, there was a dandy. That was a good one. Probably seen him or heard it at least. I made a mistake, a big one. I didn't let him have it long enough. I hit it too much right on the hit. I should have pulled the trigger just a little bit later. That's the thing about worm fishing. You can be too early or too late. You just got to sense it. And I definitely did a big mistake on that one. Took the tail off. That's why I didn't get that one. Tail biter. Back into my worm wrap. You know, just for the heck of it here, I know they've been hitting black and blue, so we're not going to vary that much different. In fact, what I'm going to do, you see that? Maybe not. That is a June bug, which is kind of a purple and green flake. Why do they call it a June bug? You got me. Why do they call them a lot of different things? Why do you have a chicken on a chain? That's another one. Yeah, that's right. There's one called chicken on a chain. Sexy West. Oh, you can think of all sorts of them. Now, we'll see if this might make a difference where they hold a little bit better. We definitely got some fish down in here, and I haven't even retried the good stream area that I want. Here we go. There we go. Got one. There we are. Still not real big, but not going to kick. You notice he did hang a little longer, and it may, whoop, fish handling school I'm not. There we go, right there. Now we're going to try this again. See, maybe, but they did hold that. Now, whether it's going to hold true with all of them, I don't know. But that fish did take that and hold that color just a little bit longer. There's one. Got him. Good fish. You can see the benefits of this long rod too. Not only am I able, like I told you before, casting a long ways, but you've got a lot of fighting ability. I'm trying to get them out of the weeds and the slop both. There we go. Yep, another good one. Better than the others even. Not too bad. Hoping to get another one down in the slop as well. Nice fish. We'll measure them real quick. Get out the handy dandy Frable benchmark measuring board. And he's 18 3/4, so it's not too bad. Pepper's all excited. Like I said, what a difference it makes. Two things: changed colors, changed positions. Still using the Texas rigged worm, the natural forage bait, RT7 that is. And like I said, you use a ribbon tail worm of some brand, but nice thing about the natural forage bait is it's got kicking bass in it. And yeah, I'll add some kicking bass to them once in a while, but it just seems like it works great the way it is. And we're going to try again down parallel, just see what happens. Oh, there we go. Got one. Good fish. Real good fish. This is a dandy. and for some reason I don't think it's a bass, but it will show you about anything will take this. No, it is a bass. A good one. There we go. Now that is a natural forage bait ribbon-tail bass. That's no doubt about it. This is the type that I usually catch. Of course, you catch a lot of smaller ones too. I'm not going to say you don't all the time, as you've already seen. But this is what I wanted to show you. How good plastic worm fishing really can work. Again, I threw it right up in there. Gonna have to get my pliers. Get this going here good. There we go. What we're going to do is we're going to measure this. Just so I can show you. I say he's maybe a 19, something around there. Get our Frable measuring stick here. Ooh, Pepper, he's all excited down here. What you want to do is one of these. And that's why I got this out. Pepper, stay out of the rod. You want to wet this. Pepper's wanting to wet the fish because you want to protect the slime coating of the fish. Okay, we're going to measure him real quick. I said he's about 19. Bingo. Yep, that's exactly what he is, 19 inches. He's got good weight to him, so he's going to be probably a good 4, I'd say, on that. Good kicker fish if you were in the tournaments. Like I said, that is definitely what you want to see when you're fishing a Texas worm. And maybe change into that color. That's another thing you want to think about, is change into the colors. And that might have been it. I switched over to that June bug, which has worked very well before in these lakes, and especially this time of the year. It's a hot time of the year. We're going to get him back in the water, and then when we do here, I'll put him in so you know he's released. And until next time, get out on the water and have a great day of fishing.